The story that I want to present to you today has a bit of a surprising twist that's a bit unexpected. A white male farmer, specifically a dairy farmer out in Wisconsin, is suing the Trump administration for discriminating against white farmers. I'll repeat that for emphasis. A white farmer is suing the Trump administration for anti-white discrimination. Now, obviously, there's more to this story than just meets the eye, and so let me present to you the relevant background for how we got to this point, and then I'll explain to you exactly what the lawsuit is actually about. And if you appreciate content like this, I do hope you take a quick moment to smash that like button. Now, of course, again, as always, you're thinking, I haven't watched the video yet, Roman. How do I know if I'm going to like it? Why would I smash the like button before watching it? Trust me, you're going to like this video, so smash that like button. And also, if you haven't smashed that subscribe button as well, do that now, please. Now, getting back to the relevant background, during the Biden administration, the first major piece of legislation that was actually passed was the American Rescue Plan. That was the $1.9 trillion stimulus package passed in March of 2021. And included in the text of that bill was an $800 million provision that implicitly allowed for the discrimination against white farmers. Specifically, this was a race-based loan forgiveness program, and here was exactly what the relevant piece of the text in the law actually said. Quote, the U.S. Department of Agriculture shall provide a payment in an amount up to 120% of the outstanding indebtedness of each socially disadvantaged farmer or rancher as of January 1st, 2021, to pay off their direct farm loans. The text of the law, it then went on to explicitly break down who exactly qualified for this program. And so what it meant is that if you were a farmer somewhere in America who was either Black, Asian, Hispanic, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, Alaskan Native, or American Indian, you not only did not have to pay back your debt, but also your loan would be forgiven for up to 120% of the loan value. Meaning, in theory, you could actually make a tidy profit in the process. But if you were a white farmer, you did not qualify. No matter how poor you were, no matter how many economic troubles you were facing, even if you were literally on the brink of bankruptcy, it did not matter. As long as you were a white farmer, under this program, you would not qualify for this loan forgiveness plan no matter what. Also, it's really worth mentioning, at least in my opinion, that this socially disadvantaged loan forgiveness scheme had nothing in the way of means testing. And so as a practical matter, you could literally be a rich Asian farmer or a rich Black farmer with a profitable operation, good margins, no money troubles at all, and yet you would still qualify for this program as long as you happen to check off the correct box under race of the loan application. But again, if you check the box that said white on that very same application, you would qualify for nothing. Now, if that sounds patently illegal to you, that's because it was. In fact, in May of 2021, a group of white farmers, they filed a lawsuit against the Biden administration saying that this was patently discriminatory. And within just 3 months, they won the case. The federal judge ruled in their favor and said that the provision explicitly harmed the white farmers in irreparable ways, or as the judge wrote, quote, the plaintiff has shown that absent an injunction, all socially disadvantaged farmers with qualifying farm loans will receive up to 120% debt relief, and he, meaning the white farmer, will suffer the harm of being excluded from eligibility for that debt relief program solely on the basis of his race. That harm, he has shown, is irreparable. The harm will be complete, and its effects will be cast in stone. Only a preliminary injunction halting the distribution of payments and debt relief can give the plaintiff an opportunity to obtain any redress. Essentially, this ruling stated that the program was patently unconstitutional and therefore must be stopped immediately. However, that's not where the story ended. You see, the very next year, the Biden administration passed the Inflation Reduction Act, the IRA. And included in the text of that new law was a new provision that, on its face at least, provided loan forgiveness to all farmers, regardless of race. But the devil was in the details here. And a whistleblower from within the USDA recently came out, and he explained how, despite what the text of the law said, the government only sent notices about this loan forgiveness plan to non-white farmers. Here's a clip from News Nation where this whistleblower exposes this DEI scheme.
The Biden administration was not ready to give up. They passed the Inflation Reduction Act to help farmers who couldn't pay their loans. It was supposed to help all farmers, but News Nation has learned all farmers were not told about it. News Nation obtaining a copy of this email that was sent out to share information about new payments and/or loan modifications that may assist you. But here's the catch. Our whistleblower says it was only sent to the minority farmers, aka the socially disadvantaged group. And he says USDA workers were even instructed to tell that group to stop paying their loans because they would still be forgiven. The whistleblower says none of the white farmers he works with received the email.
They got nothing. You know, it might not meet the legal definition of fraud, but it isn't right. It was discriminatory, it was unethical, and the people who pushed it are still in charge of the agency.
They're still in charge?
Yes. At our national office, they're still, Trump hasn't got rid of them.
And indeed, just as that whistleblower mentioned in that clip, it appears that the people within the USDA who brought you the smash hit not mailing out notices to white farmers are still in the agency working on a sequel. And to that effect, a new lawsuit has just been filed against the Trump administration's USDA. The man behind this new lawsuit is Mr. Adam Faust. He's a dairy farmer over in Wisconsin who was actually among the original group of farmers who successfully sued the Biden administration back in 2021. And Mr. Faust, he alleges in his new lawsuit that the USDA has continued to implement their DEI programs that were started by the prior administration. And specifically, Mr. Faust gave 3 concrete examples of discrimination that he himself faces as a white farmer. The first has to do with the paying of administrative fees. Quote, Faust participates in one program designed to offset the gap between milk prices and the cost of feed. But the lawsuit alleges he is charged a $100 administrative fee that minority and female farmers do not have to pay. Secondly, he claims that there is a disparity between the loan guarantees that he gets versus what the socially disadvantaged farmers receive. Quote, Faust also participates in a USDA program that guarantees 90% of the value of loans to white farmers, but 95% to women and racial minorities. And then thirdly, as a white farmer, Mr. Faust claims that he qualifies for less reimbursements in another program that he happens to be a part of. Quote, Faust has also begun work on a new manure storage system that could qualify for reimbursement under a USDA environmental conservation program, but 75% of his costs are eligible, while 90% of the cost of minority farmers qualify. All right, just to pause here for a super quick moment, I'd like to introduce our sponsor and my own personal gold dealer, American Hartford Gold. Now, as soon as the latest round of tariffs hit, almost immediately, the stock market hit some serious waves, we could say. It became super turbulent, very volatile, and of course, these conditions don't just affect Wall Street, they affect all of us with our investments and our retirement accounts. That's why I want to introduce a company that I trust and I use myself to help secure my own savings, American Hartford Gold. They specialize in helping Americans move their assets into something tangible, something you can actually hold, physical gold and physical silver. 2 precious metals that help me sleep better at night, knowing that I have a hedge against all those brilliant decisions being made over in Washington. Now, they have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, they have thousands of 5-star reviews, and they make the whole buying process super simple. Your metals can be shipped directly to your doorstep, or you can transfer your current retirement account to a tax-advantaged gold IRA. And the best part is that right now, American Hartford Gold is offering an exclusive buy one, get one deal for my viewers. When you call them and mention my name, Roman, for every 1 ounce of gold that you purchase, you can get 1 ounce of free silver. And so take advantage of this special offer. Either call 866-242-2352 or simply text Roman to 65532. That's again, 866-242-2352 or text Roman to 65532. I'll also throw their information. It'll be down in the description box below. And so there you have it. The lawsuit alleges that these discriminatory practices and programs continue to exist despite the Trump administration's overall mandate to eliminate DEI across all federal government agencies, which is actually a point that Mr. Faust makes himself. This is a statement from Mr. Faust, the farmer suing the Trump administration. Quote, the USDA should honor the president's promise to the American people to end racial discrimination in the federal government. After being ignored by a federal agency that's meant to support agriculture, I hope my lawsuit brings answers, accountability, and results from the USDA. For your reference, Mr. Faust's lawsuit is seeking the specific following relief. He's looking to get a preliminary injunction stopping these discriminatory programs immediately. Secondly, he's looking for a judgment that says that these programs are indeed unconstitutional and cannot continue. Thirdly, he wants his legal fees reimbursed. And then lastly, he wants to be provided with any relief that the court deems appropriate. If you would like to read the entirety of Mr. Faust's new lawsuit, I will throw a PDF version of it. You'll be able to find it down in the description box below. And I would recommend it. It's actually very short, and it's also very logically and clearly written out. So you really follow the man's story and understand the kind of discrimination that he's facing as a white farmer. It's an interesting read, and again, it'll be linked down in the description box below. And then lastly, I'd love to know your thoughts on this matter, because I mean, on the one hand, you could say that socially disadvantaged farmers should be getting some support from the federal government, maybe because of past histories of discrimination against those particular groups. You could make that argument, and that was actually the argument that the Biden administration was making, and the first federal judge that actually said that the whole thing was unconstitutional in that earlier ruling from 2021, he was actually sympathetic to that line of reasoning. He just said ultimately that the whole scheme was unconstitutional, so he had to throw it away. But even he was sympathetic to that cause. On the flip side, however, it is patently unconstitutional to do it this way. And even though the margin seems small, like a $100 administrative fee, 90% versus 95%, loan guarantees, 90% versus 75% reimbursements, even though that margin might seem small, well, agriculture is a small margin business to begin with. So, I mean, those margins could be the difference between being profitable or not profitable, but also it's just the idea that it's unfair, right? Like one group not getting a favorable treatment versus another group that's patently unfair. And also, Mr. Faust is naturally not participating in every single USDA program. He only cites 3 examples. It would be fairly interesting to see how many more examples actually still currently exist. In fact, if you happen to be a farmer, leave in the comment section below if you know of any of these anti-white discriminatory programs. I'd love to compile a list. Actually, that would be an interesting follow-up episode, to compile a list of all of such programs that still exist. I think that would be quite a good episode to make. So if you happen to be in agriculture, or you're in government, or you're in law, whatever field you happen to be in, and if you know of any of these types of programs, please leave them down in the comment section below. I'll be looking for them, and I will find them if you type them down there. And then lastly, if for some reason you haven't already, do smash those like and subscribe buttons so that this video can reach ever more people via the YouTube algorithm. And then until next time, I'm your host, Roman from the Epoch Times. Stay informed, and most importantly, stay free.